Good afternoon and welcome inside the Toronto Pan Am Sports Center on this Saturday, March 8th. Apologies again for the technical delay. We're going to get second half action between the St. Jude's team and Capital Courts from Ottawa here at the women's semifinal number 1. Just to recap a little bit of that first half, I'm JJ Evison alongside Sydney Holmes. What a great performance from the player who was just named the MVP for the OSBA Women's Eastern Division, Jude Denis. She had a great showing, 15 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists. What did you like from her in the opening half that you saw helped give her team a 15-point lead, Sid?
As we kind of always have seen from her, is her ability to play fantastic two-way basketball. It's very easy for a lot of players to kind of get complacent where if they shoot a shot, doesn't go in, they kind of already backpedaling on defense, where Denis, she's the first one every single time crashing for that rebound, which is the reason why we saw her have such a stat-filled first half there. She's very consistent, very driven, and 9 times out of 10, she's going to shoot her shot and also get her own rebound at the same time.
Well, St. Jude's had the game within 2 points, 7 minutes left in that second quarter. What have you liked from them? They've been able to go on a few runs. What's going to need to be their top of priority here in the second half?
I was going to point out their shot selection, and we see then, right, their patience and their shot selection has been crucial, but I think they also got a bit too picky in the first half, where they were passing the ball a bit too much. The rotation was a lot slower. I think we just need to see a bit more urgency coming from them here in the second half, but their shot selection was there. It just needs to be more concise.
That's Hollingsworth from Denis. Another assist for Denis. She's got 6 on the afternoon. Hollingsworth adds 3 more to her total, showing why she's the MVP of the East Division. 53-38 the score now. Plenty of time left in the game for St. Jude's to come back. They've thwarted, 12-1 lead early in the first quarter. Can they get another one here in the third? Maldonado makes the move. Doesn't get the roll. Hollingsworth with the rebound, head up, looking to push the pace, and that's exactly what this Capital Courts team does. They work well in transition. The dump off intercepted. Here's Maldonado into the front court. Simran Lal wanted it, deflected out of bounds by Alexandre Bissett.
Something that Capital Courts has been doing tremendously well on defense is their help side is so congested in the middle that it allows St. Jude's to kind of be forced to the outside of the three-point line. And they haven't been able to attack. I mean, we saw just then what can happen if you're able to attack the basket, but they haven't really been too successful in that because of how congested the Capital Courts is making the middle of the court. So I think kudos to them on that, but also St. Jude just having to work that much harder to get inside. And the good thing for them is that when they are able to, because there's an odd number of Capital Courts athletes inside, they're drawing the foul. So I think if there's a handoff on both sides, but in certain cases like that, you can't allow them access to the middle.
Simran Lal at the free throw line, going to the University of Waterloo next year. Was an All-Canadian Games participant in 2024. Sneaky down low, gets through those cracks on defense and can get right to the rack. She connects on both of them. St. Jude's booked their ticket here in this semifinal by taking down Jay Addison 73-67 earlier this week. Capital Courts kind of ran the show all season in the OSBA, finished 12-0. Beat Orangeville 76-24 in their quarterfinal game. Whip pass far side, Denis tips it to Hollingsworth, gets it right back. Shot clock going to reset to 14, and a double rebound opportunity for Rachel Okoko. And it's kind of unfair. This Capital Court squad, their starting 5 of Jude Denis, Patricia Augustin, Megan Hollingsworth, Rachel Okoko, and Alexandre Bissett, all going to the All-Canadian Games this summer. Of course, Fabian Blizzard, their head coach, wins Coach of the Year as Bissett steps out of bounds, and that's a live ball turnover. Lead still 15 here, 7:45 left in the third quarter. Again, thanks for tuning in on OSBA TV on YouTube. We appreciate you. JJ Evison alongside Sydney Holmes will be here for the remainder of the afternoon and evening. Happy International Women's Day, Sydney. I meant to say that off the top, but we got, distracted with catching people up, and I apologize for that, as St. Jude's have it on the offensive side. Here's Shantae Murray. Works downhill, elevates, off glass, yes. Shantae Murray put up 46 in a game against Kings Christian earlier this year. all-around performer, absolute baller. Biosteel All-Canadian, played on Canada's U18 silver medal squad. He's got offers from Fresno State, Bradley, Temple, University of South Alabama. Still a whole nother year to compete at the high school level. Here's Denis. Hands off to Okoko. So Denis, another assist. That's 8 in the contest now. Okoko adds another 2 to Capital Courts' total, and they're up to 57.
I think the reason we're seeing a bit of a discrepancy in the score, I mean, I know how you mentioned, JJ, in the first quarter it was fairly close, but one of the reasons is because Capital Courts has a lot of players at their disposal that are able to attack the basket effectively, drive to the net, and also their shot selection individually is pretty high end. With St. Jude's, they do have a tendency to run the ball just through one player. I mean, Murray, as we've seen, she's the shining star of this game. She's the one that's consistently getting to the basket. But they do have other players on the roster that are able to be basket getters and point scorers. So I think they just need to utilize their team a bit better. And if they're able to do so, it's going to be a much closer game.
Almost uncontested the whole way. The dump-off pass, maybe ill-advised. There was a whole lane there for Stephanie Galikowski. Alexandra Bissett bobbles it near the timeline, gives it up to Okoko. And it's Sierra Patricio now. Looking for a dive from Denis. Denis keeps. Baseline jumper is good. Jada Denis just having a game. The defensive player of the year for the OSBA women, getting it done offensively this afternoon. It's a comfortable 17-point cushion for Capital Courts. 6:11 left in the third quarter. Here's Galikowski. Picked up by Bissett. Lal, left alone. Bottom. If you give her time and space beyond that perimeter, she's gonna make you pay. Simran Lal with the 3, Galikowski with the assist. Denis working on the far side. Jab step doesn't get her open. Patricio up top. Kicks to the corner. Hollingsworth. A little strong. Okoko with the rebound. Coco back up, misses the second chance opportunity. That knocked out of bounds. Last touch by Miriam Enriquez. It will be Capital Courts ball baseline out of bounds.
Looking at the stats coming out of the second quarter there, we were kind of pointing out that St. Jude's has been a bit more higher in terms of like their accuracy in their field goal attempts. 63% coming out of the second quarter for field goals in comparison to Capital Courts with 55. And going off of a lot of people, if you look at that stat line, you can think, okay, that means that they're making more baskets. Well, not necessarily. It just means that they're more accurate with their choices, right? And as I was saying earlier, they have the ability to be clear and concise with the attempts they're making. And honestly, that's part of the reason they've had such a success this season, is because their court visibility is very strong. On the offhand, though, where Capital Courts is able to kind of pinpoint that strength of theirs is they continuously go after second chance and third chance opportunities, where St. Jude's hasn't really been able to tap into this game. But they need to do that in order to kind of bring this margin down a little bit. But both teams have their strengths and they're using it extremely well.
Turnover on the inbound. Patricio grabs it. St. Jude's shooting 52% from the field as Augustin drains a 3. 52% from the field is a few ticks above what Capital Courts allows their opponent's field goal to be, typically around 35% from 2 and 21 from 3. Georgiulius working on Ferguson. Picks up the dribble, in trouble, coughs it up, and Augustin's going to take that loose ball, give it to Patricio, who's going to traipse down the court. Kicks it out. Alexandra Bissett for 3, back iron. Shantae Murray taps it to Galikowski, then runs the court, gets the ball back, has a lane, has 2 to beat, pulls up, gets it to go, count the bucket, and the foul. Patricia Augustin, with her 3rd foul of the game, sends Shantae Murray to the free throw line. Murray's got 19, looking for 20.
Just to kind of talk about a bit of a breakdown there, with Georgiulius down low in the corner. She tried her best to go in on Ferguson, and Ferguson was like cutting it off on defense. What I think they should have done, someone on St. Jude should have gone to the low corner, and if they're a shooter, they were open for the 3, because everyone was kind of so high up that they left her down there. I think that's just a little tweak I would have made for them on offense, but as you can see, it ended up working out for them, getting the 2 points.
Ferguson in the front court. Through contact, gets her own rebound. Patricio, baseline jumper. That's no good. Another offensive rebound for Capital Courts. Back-to-back offensive possessions. That one to Avani Tella. Patricio from three, no. And another offensive rebound for the girls in red. Patricio works into the paint, kicks it to the corner. Hollingsworth, feet set, bottom. Hollingsworth with the three, Patricio with the assist. Good team basketball, great ball movement, and great effort on the glass.
It's exactly what I was mentioning earlier. It's not necessarily their first chances that you got to be worried about. It's the second, third, fourth, even fifth chance opportunities, right? Like they are vying for that basketball the second it hits the floor.
Georgiulia swings it into the corner. Nice entry pass. That disrupted by Hollingsworth. Patricio, head up the whole way. Gives it to Hollingsworth. Picked up by Klochinska. Inside, Ferguson. No good. Gets her own rebound. Hollingsworth dives. Off glass. Doesn't get the roll. Maldonado tries to pull that one down. Going to be called a jump ball possession arrow favoring Capital Courts. Baseline out of bounds for Capital Courts. They usually get a point off of this inbound look. Jada Denis gets the offensive rebound, kicks it back out. Perimeter ball movement, 5-out offense here for Fabian Blizzard's Capital Courts squad. 3 seconds on the shot clock. Hollingsworth has to toss it up. And another one from beyond the arc for Megan Hollingsworth. Can she be stopped? If you're given the MVP award for the season before a playoff game, Sid, how does that affect you as a player, your mentality? Does it at all?
Oh, for sure. I think you better come out and perform. And the only reason I say that is not because anyone's expecting you to prove anything, but because it's expected now that you are a consistent player. But I think it falls mainly on the head of Hollingsworth. Like, you know you're a player, you know you're a bucket getter, but now this is the game to prove it, and especially in playoffs, right? It's do or die for these women. So I think now is a better time than ever for her to kind of come out swinging.
Capital Courts ahead by 19. Murray into the front court to Maldonado. Maldonado taking on Okoko, and Okoko trips her up. Maldonado grabs her right hip. She'll get up under her own power. Take a little breather there, a little hip pointer. That'll sting for the next few hours. We've got the Crestwood women warming up here on our right. Looking for the Royal Crown team. Could be back in the locker room getting ready there. Coach Lee giving them a pep talk before their semifinal game, which comes right after this. Then we've got the men's semifinals a little bit later tonight. Royal Crown taking on Houghton Prep, followed by Ridley College and Crestwood Prep. And that'll lead us into tomorrow, where we have the boys and girls D-League All-Star game, followed by the OSBA Trillium Final, the women's final, and then finally the men's final. Maldonado, a Nike Future Games participant last year, misses on the second. Rebound Okoko. And Jada Dennis is going to take it over the timeline. Shifty moves, change of pace. Loses the dribble, gets it back. Looking outside, Evelyn Tunkara with the handoff. Ashlyn Norris, that's out of bounds. CCA will retain possession on the side out. Baseline jumper, easy for Denis, no good. Okoko, offensive rebound. Stepping back out, Ashlyn Norris. A little too much on that one. With 5 seconds on the shot clock, it will be a baseline out of bounds for CCA.
Every single time Capital Courts is outnumbering St. Jude's in the paint. And that can't happen. And I think that's one of the main reasons why they've been able to get these offensive chances so many times is they're just not collapsing as much as they should be, St. Jude's. I think they're focused too much on getting the transition that they're not worried about the second chance that can happen if they don't get the rebound.
The half-court heave off the mark. It's going to be a shot clock violation. Turnover. St. Jude's has the opportunity to cut into this 18-point deficit. Minute 36 left in the third quarter. No Shantae Murray on the court for St. Jude's. Who's going to step up? Simran Lal's hit a few three. Maldonado can get into the paint. Marley Hale's got a few points of her name, 6 in this game. Moving downhill, Maldonado going to be a travel. So St. Jude's come up empty-handed on that last offensive possession.
You kind of pointed it out, JJ. I mean, with Murray taking, from what I can recall, her first break of the game, if you don't count the half, someone needs to step up for St. Jude's. And there's plenty of women on the floor that can do that. We just need to see someone actually enact that right now.
Baseline move from Tunkara. She gets swallowed up, able to get it to a teammate on the perimeter. Denis, 5 seconds on the shot clock. Hollingsworth has to heave it. She does. Back iron into the hands of Maldonado. A couple of late shot clock offensive possessions here for CCA bodes well for St. Jude's. The corner three. Maldonado, no, scratch that. It's going to be Marley Hale with the offensive rebound, and she'll head to the line. Foul's going to go on Denis.
Somewhat of a slow burn we've seen from Marley Hale. I mean, previously coming from Low Ellen Prep. She's been within the OSBA, so she's conditioned in it, but also too, you have to point out her post work is next to none. I mean, at least the games that I've been able to see from her this season, she's very clinical and she knows what she's doing when she gets the ball at the block. So it's always been hard for teams to kind of stop her, but also in the same breath, she's been kind of getting more into that this game. We haven't seen her starting out with that. She's still been kind of consistent in terms of getting rebounds and getting the opportunity for her other teammates when that happens, but I'd love to see that come out for her.
The option for a 2-for-1 here for Fabian Blizzard's squad. Here's Tunkara turning around. Norris down inside. That one intercepted, but gotten right back from Hollingsworth. Feet set. Tunkara for three. Nearly a wedgie. Patricio, offensive rebound. Going back up with it, no. Lost out of bounds. CCA have the ball with 8 seconds left on the shot clock. 31% of all possessions for Capital Courts from the baseline inbound and results in points. Quick inbound pass, Patricio left open, bucket and book it.
I didn't want to jinx it, but I was just about to say before they do that, the reason they're so successful is because they always go for that quick shot. They never look to kind of build up a play. They always just go for that first shot option, because even though it can seem as simple, it's never looked at as the first option.
No possessions off for Capital Courts as they force an 8-second backcourt violation. So they just added 3 to their total. And with 5.4 left in the third quarter, they have the chance to bring it up to more than 19 points. Hollingsworth, again, that's a long 2 off the backboard, doesn't get the roll. And the third quarter will come to an end, 71-52. Capital Courts, the team from Ottawa, ahead of St. Jude's. And if you're head coach Kenning Manning of this St. Jude's squad, what is the message in that huddle here at the third quarter break?
They need to be more physical. I think every single time someone from St. Jude's is cutting to the basket, cutting up for a ball, going to set a screen, there's a body on them. Capital Courts, their physicality is next to none in this game, and I think a lot of the times it's forcing St. Jude's to play out of position. It's allowing them to kind of stretch their offensive rotation, and it's allowing them to just play out of the normal style. So I think they just need to bang the body right back. They need to be very physical. They need to go right at Capital Courts, and we saw them do that in the first quarter, and it was a lot closer than what we're seeing right now. So they just need to be more physical, rely on the play structure that they have set from Manning, and they can come back in this game. I think if they don't come out, though, in this fourth quarter, hard and aggressive as they did in the first, within, I want to say, maybe the first 3 minutes, it's going to slip away from them.
Well, you got to lean on your all-stars for a comeback like that. And prior to the start of this afternoon's semifinal, a selection of players from both teams were honored with some awards. St. Jude's guard Silvana Maldonado earned second-team all-star honors, and guard Shantae Murray earned first-team all-star honors. For Capital Courts, 3 first-team all-stars in Jada Denis, who also won the Defensive Player of the Year, Patricia Augustin, and Megan Hollingsworth, who also won the OSBA Women's East MVP. Shooting guard Alexandre Bissett nodded for the second-team all-star status. And, of course, head coach of Capital Courts, Fabian Blizzard, is your OSBA Women's East Division Coach of the Year.
A team full of winners before the game even started is not a small feat in and of itself. And I think that just shows to the strength of Capital Courts. And I mean, we mentioned it as well. From us starting with the team all the way from September in the kind of season tournament to now, we mentioned that Capital Courts hasn't really changed much. They've been kind of very consistent. They've just gotten that much stronger. So to say that they've gotten all those awards is nothing shy of fantastic for the organization, for sure.
10 more minutes on the clock in this, the do or die semifinal. 1 of 2 for the women's side. Having trouble getting the ball in was Maldonado. She gets it in to Kolchinska in the back court. Picked up by Augustin. Loses the dribble, and Megan Hollingsworth is ahead of the pack with nobody in front of her. 1-2 step, glassing through, textbook lay-in for Hollingsworth.
22 points for Hollingsworth so far. 22 points actually in 5 rebounds. I don't want to cut that out because that's not a small achievement either, but she is consistent is an understatement for her right now on offense.
Coco tips that one into Augustin's hands. Denis kicks it into Bissett, who's got a foot out of bounds. And back into the game comes Shantae Murray alongside Miriam Enriquez. Enriquez, the class of 2027 guard. By the way, an elite shooter is Enriquez. She's 2-time member of the 100 Club at honors with Shot City. So she can get shots up whether or not they're open. Here's Lal from 3, no. Puts it to the deck, kicks it back out. This time it's Hale. Back iron. Denis fighting for the rebound, tips it to Augustin, who will collect the board. Jada Denis behind the back, into trouble. Bissett near side, finds a lane, step through, left-hand finish. That's a thing of beauty. Denis another assist. Bissett for 2 points. Murray accepts the inbound pass. Traipsing up the middle of the court, hands it off. Hale no good. Offensive rebound. Right back up. Murray fouled from behind by Hollingsworth.
When you look at the stats so far, I'm going to kind of focus on points per quarter. From the first quarter, which was the closest we've seen so far, Capital Courts got 22, St. Jude's got 19. And then you go to the second, St. Jude's got 16, Capital Courts got 28. And then in the third, Capital Courts 21, St. Jude 17. So St. Jude's has been kind of fluctuating in and around that under 20 mark. But in the same breath, though, Capital Courts has been consistently bettering themselves for the most part every single quarter. But it was always interesting to me is when you look at like the stats per game or the field goal percentage per quarter, St. Jude's is leading in that aspect, 71% for field goal percentage in comparison to 25% for Capital Courts. But that doesn't mean that they're leading it. It just necessarily means that their Capital Courts is just shooting more at this point.
Oh, volume shots is what they do. Offensive rebounds, second chance opportunities. That's the MO of Capital Courts as they turn the ball over and Maldonado traipses into the front court. Pounding defense is also what Capital Courts does. Lal from 3 off the iron. Denis grabs it and lands out of bounds. 8:25 left in regulation. 75-52. It's a 23-point lead for Capital Courts.
I know you mentioned this at the start, JJ, too, but that rim is a dead rim. As soon as the ball hits it, there's no give. It's not going to bounce in. It's not going to nothing. It's going to go straight out. So all the shots you make have to either be off the backboard or a swish.
Lal loses it behind her back. Denis picks it up. It's a 3-on-2. Denis, 1-2 step, handoff of Coco, finishes. So Denis got her 9th assist of the contest. 1 assist shy of a double-double and 5 rebounds shy of a triple-double should she get that 1 assist. Murray from right in front of the basket. Nice dish from Maldonado. And here come Royal Crown into the gymnasium. They get starting to warm up here for what is going to be a great semifinal number 2. Another 2 points for Okoko, and there's the double-double for Denis on that bounce pass. Beautiful find. Enriquez steps out of bounds. Okoko was closing out rather quickly. Enriquez had to make the decision to put it up or to charge baseline. In doing so, lost awareness of her feet, stepped out of bounds. That's a turnover you can't afford to have down the stretch here if you're Kenny Manning.
Just to kind of do a bit of a collection of totals so far for Denis. She has 17 points, 5 rebounds, 10 assists. Going over to Hollingsworth, 22 points, 5 rebounds. It's just A collection of a team effort would be an understatement right now for this team.
Well, Coco's got the mismatch, uses the glass on the spin around move, entry pass from Hollingsworth on the assist. Shantae Murray working on Daniela Apo. It's the shot from the corner. Enriquez drains the three on the pass from Murray.
8 points for her so far in this game, Enrique. She has been, again, one of those like silent leaders on the floor. She's usually always the kind of the person bringing up the ball for the most part, but she has that in her disposal, making those threes. It's just we haven't really seen her have the ability so far.
Another late shot clock on the offensive side for CCA. Murray called for the foul, and Patricia Augustin to the line. Ontario Basketball Association and Rogers and Uptown Wireless are bringing you unbeatable deals on wireless plans. As a valued OBA member, you now have access to exclusive savings on Rogers services, helping you stay connected, whether you're at home, on the road, or courtside. Don't miss out. Visit basketball.on.ca today to explore your exclusive offers and experience the power of connection with Rogers. Stay connected, stay in the game. Powered by OBA and Rogers. Here's Patricia Augustin at the line now. No stranger to winning basketball. She misses that second one as Shantae Murray fights for the rebound. Augustin, a 2023 Canadian National Championship gold medalist, as that three rims around and is retrieved by Augustin. She averaged 21 points, 11 boards, 5 assists, and over 2.5 steals during her time out there in Newfoundland last summer. Apo works downhill, gets by George Julius, picks up the dribble. Patricio from the corner. No. Offensive rebound, Okoko. Traveled, so a live ball turnover here from Okoko. As we get a substitution. Georgia Ferguson back in. Okoko will head to the bench. 6:08 left in regulation, 82-57. Capital Courts in the lead. Maldonado at the top, working around the screen. The handoff, Lal for three. Near iron into the hands of Apo. The 5'10 guard, class of 2026. Patricio Patricio lost it. Out of bounds. That's unusual. Tapped out? They're going to stay Capital Courts ball.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it was a touch on defense.
Quick inbound blocked by Murray. Fighting for it, Chunkara. Apo gives it up to Sierra Patricio. Down low, Augustin, kick back out. Apo for three. Off the iron, out of bounds. St. Jude's baseline.
That was a good effort there from St. Jude's. They were taking away every second pass option, which is what you have to do in an offensive rotation that Capital Courts is presenting. So solid defense on St. Jude's part.
Slow, methodical over the timeline. Murray hands it off. Lal wants the screen and roll. Patricio swallows it up. She doesn't have a dribble. She needs some help. Puts it into the front court. Ferguson. Apo. Augustin traveling. Had the shuffling of the feet upon the receipt of that pass. There's a timeout on the floor. St. Jude's and Kenny Manning going to talk things over. Come up with a way to play out the remainder of this contest. Finish on a strong note. We'll step aside for a quick break and be back with more action here from the Toronto Pan Am Sports Center. It's OSBA Championship Weekend. 5:05 left in regulation here. The first of two semifinals for the OSBA women's. St. Jude's trail Capitol Courts 57-82. Shantae Murray smacked on the arm. That's going to be Patricia Augustin's fourth. Maldonado to trigger on the side out. Having trouble again. Good defense here from Capitol Courts. And it's Simran Lal. Picked up by Augustin. Lal had a couple of great drives in the first half. Showed off her handles. Her ability to get downhill. Maldonado just out of the reach there. Picks it back up. Galli Georgopoulos. George Julius, apologies. Late in the shot clock, turnover. Jada Denis, jab step. Between the legs, looking to shake her defender. Lal's with her the whole way. To double team Augustin. Denis for three, no. Stephanie Galikowski checks in for Callie Georgioulias. Galikowski, player of the game versus Life Center in the She Got Game weekend. 17 points, 9 rebounds, 5 steals. A couple of great performances from Galikowski. This her senior year. Putting the moves on Ferguson now. Murray wants the back cut, gives it up to Maldonado. Good switching on the perimeter defense here by Capitol Courts. Maldonado picks it up. Lal, 5 seconds on the shot clock. Makes her move. Good defense from Tunkara. Better offense from Simran Lal. That's about as tough as a bucket as you can make.
I was also going to say the patience on that, to not rush, especially when you hear your team counting for the seconds going down on the sideline. Take your time. She had the lane, and it was a beautiful finish.
Denis, picked up by Enriquez. Works baseline, handed off to Lal. Uses her body, and called for the charge. Dropping the shoulder into the chest of Lal, who did a good job to stay in front of her.
My thought was maybe her heels were in the semicircle. Because I think sometimes, too, when you're guarding someone on defense and you're just sliding with her as she's going into you, can kind of get a bit wishy-washy there, but...
It's the official on the baseline with the better vantage point, Troy Bennett, with the call. Working with Vinette Graham and Missy McCutcheon today. Here's Enriquez on the near side, picked up by Apo. Works it to the middle. Lal now on the wing. Maldonado fakes the pass. Floater from the lane, too soft. Patricio with the rebound. She's going to give it up to Augustin. A baseline move from Apo. Finds the diver. It's Patricio. No. Lal with the rebound. We are under 3 minutes remaining in semifinal number 1 here at the Toronto Pan Am Sports Center. Poked away. Sierra Patricio gets a fingertip on that. Evelyn Tunkara working in the lane. Spin around. Off glass and through. She drops Simran Lal and finished the bucket. Here's Enriquez trying to do it alone. Gets poked away by Augustin. Now she's got no one to give it to. Puts it right back on the deck. Looking for some movement. All blue jerseys are stagnant right now.
And I was going to point that out. Something that St. Jude's has been struggling with in this game in particular is they always force team basketball, where you need to work on the rotations, and a lot of their offensive plays have started with making at least 4 passes around the arc. The problem is, though, is that if there's a point guard or somebody like Enrique, I guess, that's out on the floor with the basketball and there's no play called, they're stagnant. They stay in their spot, which you can't do. I mean, and especially in a game like this where you have to win to move on, you need to be able to fall back on basketball fundamentals. Pass, cut, fill, right? That's the core foundation for any offensive play. So I think that was just something that they've been missing so far in this game.
Ferguson, another offensive rebound. Trying to work past Maldonado. Second chance opportunity, no good. Fighting for another offensive possession is Sierra Patricio. She's going to kick it to Tunkara in the corner. Whip pass, Apo into the paint. Loses the handle. Looks for Ferguson down low. Extra pass is good. Talk about continued offense. Savani Tella with the 2 points off of what looked like a broken play.
coming out of the third, obviously, their offensive rebounds up until that point for Capital Courts was 21 in comparison to 2 for St. Jude's. And
Can't stop that.
I think that just says it all right there. When you have such a drastic difference in offensive boards, that doesn't necessarily mean that they all translated into baskets, but it translated into another offensive opportunity that St. Jude's wasn't a part of. So that's one of the main breakdowns on offense for St. Jude's, but one of the strengths for Capital Courts, and a beautiful 3 effort there.
It's a long 2. Foul called as well. Count the basket. Foul on 25. Scratch that. Foul's going to go on Shantae Murray. Oh, nope. 5 in.
Oh, is there no extra?
The official signaled 25. Okay, there we go. Ashlyn Norris gets the foul, her 3rd of the game.
There we go.
Patricio swallows up the inbound pass. Tunkara looks for the diver. It's Appo. Murray gets a hand on it. Foul, and Appo's going to go to the line for 2. It's just a matter of time now, but Capital Courts will book their ticket to the OSBA Women's Final. They lost last year to Crestwood Prep. And Crestwood had Agat McKeer and Toby Fournier absolutely go off in that game. And I'm sure they'll wait in the gymnasium to see who they'll be playing this year. Travel called. This is a great team win if you're Capital Courts, and should give you some real confidence. I mean, had a 12-0 season, but a win like this in the semifinal, when the start time gets pushed back, you get thrown off your scheduling a little bit, and you come in and you out-rebound your opponent just on the offensive boards. Some great numbers in terms of individual performances, right? You've got Jada Denis, 22 points. Got 10 assists, 5 rebounds. Megan Hollingsworth also with 20-plus points, 5 boards. Another pass interrupted by Patricio. No one's picking up the ball, and so Norris will just pull up from the elbow. Davina Grant into the game alongside Michaelin De La Paz, Callie Georgioulias, Assyria Chamberlain Smith, and Karis Opong for St. Jude's to play out the final minutes. Foul's called, blocking foul. De La Paz to the free throw line.
I think we need to commend the conditioning to come out of the starting 5. I would say, honestly, maybe the starting 7 or 6, because they were rotating between at least 2 off the start there. This is the first time that St. Jude's has made like a hefty substitution. For the most part, they kind of kept their core 7 out there. But there wasn't really a drop-off in terms of stamina that I was seeing. I mean, they were keeping up with Capital Courts. Obviously, they just weren't able to kind of knock down shots and play hard on defense. But they're definitely conditioned well at St. Jude's, I would say.
Three-second difference, shot clock, game clock. Patricio kicks it out. Norris, extra pass, down low. Tunkara, rock to the deck. Here's Tella. Somebody's got to shoot it. 2 seconds left. It's a logo shot, actually. They're just going to eat it. And that's it. Hey, that's a I don't want my field goal percentage to go down type of decision right there, right?
I'm trying to think if that was me, if I would have shot. I mean,
you're up 30. There's 2.8 left.
Respect-wise, I think
down the ball, dribble it out.
I was going to say, I think it was a good decision.
I would not have shot it simply because I wouldn't have wanted my field goal percentage to drop. I know I wouldn't have hit that
exactly.
shot. It's a decisive 30-point victory for Capital Courts, who we will see tomorrow in the OSBA Women's Final. St. Jude's end their season here on this court in the OSBA this afternoon. We'll step aside for a quick break. We'll be back with the second semifinal between Crestwood Prep and Royal Crown here from Toronto Pan Am Sports Center. More OSBA High School Championship action coming your way shortly.